day resin pourer. I don't know. All right, so I have my mask and I have my gloves. It's as if I'm going to go to the grocery stores in a pandemic. Imagine that. So if you guys have been following along with this project, you guys know what we've been doing is that we have been recreating iOS app icons, but in my style and tactile. I have already cast my molds, and you guys also know that I use Legos, right? So that's why we have these like holes around it. These are special pigments specifically for resin, and this is actually, it's really sparkly, where of course if you do a paint, it's going to be more opaque. Doing our resin, that we do our resin in equal parts. So this resin mixture is a 1-for-1. And I'm going to mix my colors in there, and I am going to let it just kind of sit. So I am just filling them up a little bit. So I'm going to quite literally just take some, and I'm just going to do this really quickly with all of them. And as I'm going to let these sit, and as these sit, because see right now it's really thin, so if I put them right next to each other, all it's going to do is they're going to blend, and that's not what we want. We want distinct swirls, right? Because we want this to be very weather-esque. Now what's going to happen is while it's sitting there, the chemicals are going to react, and everything in this cup is actually going to get hotter, which is really interesting. Okay, so while that's happening, we need to go ahead and we need to do the app. All right, so I have my resin that I've already mixed. I'm going to put it in my cup. Anyway, but that's done. So we're going to go ahead and move it. And now we need to cast our white stuff, all right? Like right there, that little drop is probably all I need in order to make this whole thing white. Let me go ahead, guys, and show you what it looks like when we photograph them. All right, so the funny thing is that I have 3 kids, and so story time with Alicia. So I have 3 kids, and so every single day we'll do an update, and we'll do like a daily update, and I'm like, today from 12 to 1 o'clock, you have education hour. After that, you have blah, 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 blah. So anyway, just so you guys know, I do practice my newscaster voice at least once a day, and my kids hate it. All right, so let's go ahead and retouch this really quick, and then I'm gonna have an image that I'll be able to share today, which I'm really stoked on, because as you guys know, as a creative, it's so nice to be able to share stuff so people don't forget about you. All right, so the first thing that I always do is I'm gonna get out my heal tool by choosing J as a shortcut. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean up these lines really quick. So again, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the lasso tool. That's gonna be the most efficient way in order to make sure that I have a straight line. And again, you can see that I'm doing it so quickly and so big that I'm getting these like weird ghostings that are happening, which is essentially what it is that it's a duplicate of the same pattern, and it becomes very, very, very obvious. All right, so now let's play with colors a little bit, and then I think that we will be done. Okay, so yeah, I like punching that up a little bit. So when I play with my colors, I love to do it in the select color because I like to just kind of play around with them all. But I think overall, I'm definitely going to want to increase the hue and saturation. So let's go ahead and get that and just bump that anyway. Ooh, not that much, just a little bit. All right, and when I do that, I can see with the reds, I need to go back with the reds. And kind of be able to distinguish them a little bit. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me.